what's going on, everyone? I'm Julian, and this is the Inside Scoop podcast. I hope you're all doing well. It's early Sunday morning while we're recording this, and well, we got a full day of football ahead for the NFL. But with me now, I've got a great guest from Holy Cross Football, Damon Donalds. Welcome in, man.
Thank you, Julian. I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to talk shop today with you.
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, it's gonna be a good episode. You're just coming off of a game day. This is a big recovery for you. Yeah, I'm really excited to have a conversation and talk some football with you. So, just for starters, just to get to know you a little bit, talk a little bit about your high school career and then how you ended up at Holy Cross.
Yeah, for sure. So high school, went to the community school in Naples, down in Naples, Florida. Played all 4 years, both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line. And honestly, it was a great experience in the beginning, soured a lot in the middle, but it ended pretty well for us. I remember Landon was on your podcast earlier and he talked about how he played freshman year and then played senior year, didn't play sophomore and junior year.
Yep.
He's quite lucky because I'm pretty sure we won like 4 games combined between my sophomore and junior year. Like
No.
we were not good. We were pretty awful. But senior year we turned it around, went 9-2, made the playoffs that year, had a good year. A lot of that thanks to your good friend Landon. Had a great year running the rock. But yeah, high school football. I wish more people took it, as seriously as I think that me and Landon and some of the other guys did. Because I sometimes feel that if we were really all in during those years, we could have done a little bit more. But that's neither here nor there. I'd say recruiting wise, was a little difficult for me. Holy Cross was my only Division One offer, so it was really either play Division One football in Massachusetts at Holy Cross, or I was gonna, attend a place like Hillsdale College or a couple other D2 schools that had given me looks, and then I also kind of had in the back of my mind that I could just go to school, go to FSU, go to Florida, and just
Yeah.
live my life as a regular student, which doesn't sound terrible.
Oh, yeah.
There's this program called Bright Futures in Florida, and I'm sure there's like similar programs around the country. Whereas like if you have a certain GPA and a certain amount of service hours, they'll pay for your tuition to go to state school
Oh,
in
yeah.
state. So, I had qualifications for like 75% scholarship for that, so it was really kind of a toss up, and my love for football kind of just trumped that. I kind of was like, I took a chance. I took a chance, came here, and I definitely haven't regretted it. I've really enjoyed my career here so far. So,
Yeah. I think what's interesting, you said earlier, like you wish like some people maybe took high school like football or maybe even high school sports a little bit more
yeah,
serious. And I think like what's interesting is just like the culture, even like from like you've been in college now for 4 years, but even like how much high school sports have changed just with like the attention it gets, and
hmm
in some ways, how seriously it can be taken. Because like when I think about like high school sports, like back when I was in high school, like like even like the really good teams, like for whether it be football or like basketball or hockey in Minnesota, like it'd be covered, but I feel like a lot of people nowadays like really like seem to take it seriously, and I think that's
yeah,
interesting how like you maybe kind of wish like when you were in high school just a few years ago that people took it more seriously, and I think it kind of shows, right? I mean, you said you guys maybe had like 4 wins between your sophomore and junior
yeah.
year, and um, but then hey, yeah, Landon he he put you guys on his back and was played well his senior year.
Yeah, he did. I mean, the thing about trying harder, I guess it's not just the other people on my team. It was kind of more for me as well. Like
Yeah.
I feel like maybe if I had done more, I could have opened up more pathways as far as like recruiting goes, and it's just far as like the enjoyment of high school football. in general. And I know there are tons of teams out there who are really locked in. My brother is playing high school football right now. I know his head coach. I know their team. I know they get really into it. And so, like, there are definitely programs out there that take it seriously. But I just know that sometimes there was just a lack of, urgency
Yeah.
on our team, and it showed in the record. It, the record doesn't really lie to you too much. So, you know, that's neither here nor there. That's a long time ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's in the past, and you're above and beyond that. Well, let's talk a little bit now more about Holy Cross. I again, to be honest with the viewers, I don't know a ton about the program, but I know you guys have had some recent success in the FCS level. Making the playoffs, making it as far as the quarterfinals in the FCS playoffs, losing to South Dakota State. But you guys are having a little bit of an interesting year. I mean, you guys now through the first month of college football, you guys are 1-3. However, all three of those losses have come with just between one possession, right? You guys were right there with Yale, right there with New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and those are all some decent teams. When I think of New Hampshire, I mean, I think of like the Minnesota quarterback Max Brosmer, who was the leading passer in FCS just a season ago, and then Rhode Island, I mean, they're an FCS program who just played the Gophers, so these are teams who have experience playing these Power Four teams, and you guys have been right there with them. Talk to me a little bit about the beginning of the season for you guys so far.
Yeah, the beginning of the season has been a little bit of a disappointment, obviously. And really, for us, it comes down what I think pretty much two things, and we talked about this as a team a lot. The first thing I know for the defense, it's starting fast, really for the whole team. We found ourselves down early in all three of those losses, and we feel like that's one of the things that we really need to clean up just going into future games, future weeks. Because when you get put behind the eight ball like that, and their offense scores early in the first quarter, you're already behind, and there's no positivity to start the game, and that can really hurt you as the game wanes on. And then another thing is just situationally, we just got to be cleaner. We find ourselves in a 2-minute drill on defense to win the game week 1, 2-minute drill on offense to win the game week 2. And then yesterday, they had the ball tie game with a minute in the red zone. And, there's a couple of different options you could do there. But, we really just have to execute down the stretch, make sure that we're clean on offense and defense, and that, we can capitalize on opportunities throughout the game because they're there. There are opportunities for us to really put the game away, to get a big stop on 3rd and long, on 4th and long, and really just change the tide of how these games have gone. But the onus is on us, as players and as a team, to really go out there and execute and to stifle, the fourth quarter woes, which have plagued us all year. So, we're working on it every week. Coach is putting new stuff into practice the past couple of weeks, trying to get us to start faster. He calls it sudden change, where he'll do a team period like right after stretch.
Yep.
Just to really like fire the system in practice, like, yo, we're in team period right now. So stuff like that is going to help, and we're just going to try anything we can to start fast during the game and then finish the game when there are opportunities to put the game away. And that's really just going to be all we focus on. That's what we're going to be focusing on. If we can clean those things up, we can still have a successful season. Luckily for us, Patriot play has not started yet, so league play will start in about 2 weeks now. So hopefully we get that all cleaned up by then, and we can play a cleaner football game. Because I believe we have the talent. I believe we have the personnel. I believe the scheme is correct for us to go out there and win games. But it's going to be on us to play clean football games, not get in our heads, and just really execute. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it comes down is executing, doing it right, and I think it's you know good that you're being honest with yourselves and saying that like there is work to be done, and um, however it seems like the players and the coaches are trying to make the steps forward to try to continue to maybe win some of those close games, and I know how defeating or how some ways draining it can be, right? I mean, if you're going into a game and first drive on defense, you let up a touchdown. It can be tough to play, chase them, right? And and I've noticed with some of your games, it has really been like that, and I think that can be difficult, um, and especially to come up in clutch sometimes and
Yeah.
make a big stop, and that can be difficult. But again, I think it's really good for you guys that you're doing the right things, trying to be positive moving forward, especially come conference play, which is very important. I definitely think a non-conference schedule is important as well, especially if you want your
Yep.
record to look nice. But in terms of winning conference, uh, it is kind of nice that you had that little cushion, but now if you want to be serious for winning the conference, you got to step it up for sure. And I guess that leads to my next question. What are the goals for you, maybe personally, but also what are the goals for your team? Now first month you're 1-3. However, all three of the losses have been competitive, one-score games. What are your goals moving forward? Whether it's finishing the season with a winning record or still winning the Patriot League when it comes to conference play.
Yeah, the goal every year is to win the Patriot League without question.
Hmm.
I when I committed, we were back-to-back champions, and we've won every year since then. We split with Lafayette last year,
Hmm.
unfortunately, but that's the goal every year, and every year we know. We know that we have enough talent on the team, and we have enough football IQ on the team, and we have enough want to. We put in enough effort to where that's always a possibility for us.
Yeah.
We believe that we have the personnel for it. We know that we can compete with every team in our league without question. And really, what it comes down to for us is just believing that we are Holy Cross. We're Holy Cross football. The Patriot League championship belongs in Worcester, Massachusetts, and that's the way it's always been. It's the way it always needs to be. And we take that personally. We really do. And I know me and the rest of the senior class, this is all we've known. All we've known is that Patriot League trophy. We want it. We want it bad, and I dare say we want it more than anyone else in this conference. So, that's always been the goal for us. Personal goals, freshman year to now, the goals really change. Freshman year, I got here, I was deep in the depth chart, and my goal is anything I could do to touch the field was always the goal. I know people are playing college football 25, and they're
Right.
like, "Oh, what's this path where you have to sit for 3 years and then you finally get to play?" I'm like, "That's like that's like 85, 90% of the guys I know.
That's how it is.
That's always how it is. That's real college football."
Oh yeah.
So yeah, kind of went through that path, but after playing consistently last year, my goal this year is just to impact winning more, making impact plays is really my goal for this year. You know, I'm mostly a run stopping defensive tackle, so I'm in on first and second down a lot.
Hmm.
So really getting teams behind the sticks, stopping the run, putting them in second and long, third and long. Anything I could do to make that happen, I know that that's my role on this team. So just trying to be a star in that role, continue to stop the run to the best of my ability, and then when I have an opportunity to rush the passer, get home and get a sack would be great for this year for the
Yeah.
boy. But yeah, that's definitely my goal, and obviously as much winning as possible.
Right.
We train all year, all summer. for 12 opportunities in the fall to go out there and show what we can do. And so I know that our whole team has put a lot of work into this, and we're going to continue to go ball out on Saturdays.
Yeah. Well, I love your confidence, man. I mean, you know, the Patriot League, you know, the trophy, it belongs in Massachusetts with you guys. I love it. Seriously, that's good drive, and that's exactly what you need to go out there and have that mentality to go out there and win it. I love that, and I think it's interesting too that you say like, okay, freshman year you're deep in the depth chart, and now you're seeing the field, and you're playing consistently, and how people are like, well, like with college football and the video game, how people think you can just start right away, and I think what's interesting is if for those who are big into college football, you hear the name Jeremiah Smith out of Ohio State, true freshman wide receiver, who might be their best wide receiver this year, or like Ryan Williams out of Alabama, the sensational 17-year-old who has been the number one target, for the Crimson, number 4 in the country, and I think sometimes it sets up this unrealistic expectation that like like any freshman can ball out. Like it's possible, and those guys were incredible recruits out of high school.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Jeremiah Smith was like the number 1 recruit in this past high school class, and Ryan Williams was up there as well. But that's that's not the story for most cases for freshmen. A lot of times it's interesting to me where it's like, okay, especially if you're going to play Division I football, whether it's at the FBS or FCS level, you were probably pretty darn good in high school, right?
Yep.
So you're going from, okay, you might be the best on your team or one of the best on your high school team, but then you go to college and you might be one of the worst, and that's just like how it is, just because there's a lot of it's growth and maturity, I think, on the football field. But I think it's nice that you didn't have this expectation your freshman year necessarily to think you're going to be the best, or just as be performing as good as you maybe were in high school. But then you worked at it, you earned your way up there, and now you're seeing consistent playing time. And then I think with your goals too, where you're stopping the run, you kind of know like that's your job. I think it's nice that if you have opportunities to go and try to press up the quarterback and get a sack, that's great. But also, again, true football fans know a lot of times defensive tackles, they're not really getting the sacks.
The edge guys are usually the ones getting after it.
Yeah.
And the thing about, like, I guess working your way up in the roster, I mean, for most guys, and like for most of the guys I know who have started college football, there's always an expectation that you're going to be able to play. Maybe like you're not going to go out and start outright, but most guys, when they get to this level, believe that they 100% have an opportunity to get on the field. And honestly, what I would say to all of them is, you're right. You're right. There is an opportunity out there for you, but the difference in the way the game is played and the mental game that comes along with football, the more and the deeper you get into it, the higher level you play, really makes it difficult to have a quick transition. And of course, there are a lot of guys who make that transition. We had a couple guys in my class who made that impact freshman year, were literally seamless transition into college football, no problems. Like, we're able to play freshman year,
Yep.
we're able to be impact players. And hats off to those guys. They are dogs, and that's a fact. But I know for a lot of people, it takes time, and whether that's in the weight room, whether that's in the film room, there's just a lot of development that needs to happen for a lot of guys just to be able to consistently, compete with other guys who maybe have 3-4 years of college experience and who have been in a strict weight program for a long time. It takes a little bit of transition, and that's different for everybody. Sometimes it'll take half a season. Sometimes it'll take a couple of years. So, always for any freshman out there, I mean, of course, confidence. You need confidence. You need to have confidence in yourself. But you also need to know that it's going to take work. Like, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to outwork other people on your team. outwork other people in your position group if you really, want to play freshman year. You're gonna have to show it in camp early. You're gonna have to show flashes like, wow, like this is a kid that can make plays on the field, and that's what coaches are looking for. And coaches see something on film, they're like, they open their eyes. And when you pop on film, they say it all the time, when a guy pops on film, that means that he's doing something outside of regular expectations for that position, and that there's opportunities for either explosive plays or turnovers on the defensive side of the ball, putting guys behind the sticks. So, that's what coaches really want to see, early. If you have the ability to make explosive plays, then they'll work with you as much as possible, on the mental side of things, so that you can play on Saturdays.
Yeah. Well, now I'm curious. I want to step into a couple questions I had specifically to Holy Cross football. I'm curious, what would a practice, like just a regular practice, kind of look like for you guys? And then, when it's time to suit up on Saturdays, what would a home game look like? And then what does an away game look like for Holy Cross football?
Yeah. So our week is pretty simple. It's become real routine for me now. Always have off on Mondays, and we lift, watch film today, recovery, all that. Tuesday's our first real practice. We start out. We have this activation period, which is really just a bunch of stretches and mobility that we do as a team before we do anything. And then we'll get into individual drills, whether that's, for the D line, it's stance and starts, just getting in your stance, getting moving, shooting your hands at bags, just making sure, that you're ready to get after in practice. And then we'll do a team stretch. Straight coach comes out with the whistle, the whole team goes through it. And then, like I said earlier, we have started to do this sudden change where we'll go right to a team period, either like a 2-minute drill or like an inside run drill, like one versus ones, like O versus D, right out the gate. And that's kind of to try to help us start games faster. We'll do that, more individual drills, and then we like this period, another team period, usually scouts now. So the scout D will run down to the offensive side of the field, scout O will run down to us, and they're really just going to give us looks on what team we're facing that week. The coaches have already given them film on what they're supposed to do, what their responsibilities are to really replicate what the other team is going to show us that week.
Yeah.
And then we have special teams periods, of course, between all that, whether it's field goal block, punt, kickoff return. And you really have to, those are important periods because they can swing games. They can really swing games. Our old coaching staff, shout out to them at James Madison. We just saw our guy block a punt yesterday. Our old guy Terrence Spence, shout out to him, blocked a punt yesterday. We remember those special teams meetings like it was yesterday. We've been training those block punts for a long time, so it's great to see it show up on national television for the world to see. But yeah, it's really just this deep into the year, you're just trading between individual drills, scout team, and then special teams. And then we'll end practice with what Coach likes to call hostile period. So usually when your scouting team's up, you go against the scouts, which are the guys who are deeper in the depth chart. He likes to go one versus ones, good on good, for a scout period to end practice. And it won't be as clean of a look, but the coaches will bring out cards for either the offense or defense to show them what routes or what blocking scheme they want. And they'll tailor it to your offensive or defensive calls so that you can really get a look, like a scout look, against the best players on the team. So that one offense with Joe Pazanski and JC, our 1-0 line, our one receivers, we can get a look against them because we know they're better players than our actual scout team. So getting that look, getting that good on good action really helps us out as well. And that's really a full practice day for us, making sure we're touching all the bases, making sure that we're prepared for what we're going to see on Saturdays. And of course, a ton of film comes with that too. Everything in practice is recorded. We usually do meetings before practice, like about 2 hours before practice, we'll have special teams meeting, individual meetings on really what we're going to see for that day. But yeah, that's pretty consistent for us throughout the week. We tone it down Thursday and Friday. Thursday will be just a shells practice, and then Friday would be a walkthrough. But yeah, that's really what's consistent for us throughout the week. The way we like to prepare. Yeah.
And then for game days, talk to me like what a Holy Cross home game day looks like.
Yeah, so Holy Cross game day, we start out. Okay, so I gotta explain the geography of the hill real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Our football field, Fitton Field, is all the way at the bottom of the hill, Mount St. James, which is where our campus is on. So it's kind of like a full hill.
Yep.
The field's all the way down here. The athletic facility is all the way at the top, and that's where our locker room is. That's where all of our practice, all of our gear is all the top of the hill. So we bust down from the athletic facility all the way down to the hill for game day. And so you'll be up in the facility about 3 hours, 4 hours before game day, getting treatment, getting taped, whatever mobility and stuff you need to do with the trainers to just make sure your body's right for the day. And then about 2 hours before kickoff, we'll bust down to the field, and then we like to call it like the Crusader Walk. And so our football field is right next to our baseball field, and so the buses will stop right in front of the football field. We'll walk down through like the edge of the baseball field, and that's where the whole tailgate is on the baseball field. So we'll walk through the tailgate, the band's playing, the cheerleaders, cameras, and everything, and then that takes us right into the locker room that's on the field. Sitting there I'm probably in there for about 15 minutes. Me and my buddy Joe Townsend, my defensive end, my brother, we've been going out together for pregame warm up 4 years now, every year, every game. So we go out about 45 minutes before team stretch, just out there feeling the grass, getting in your stance, moving around, stretching, static stretching, a ton of that stuff. You got your headphones on out there. You're just kind of in your own world. And I love those. Those warm ups are a lot of fun. The other team is out there just doing their own thing, and you're just you're just chilling. The stadium's empty, music's playing, and you just kind of like calm before the storm moments.
Yes,
Yeah. So we'll come back in the locker room, get fully dressed, helmet, shoulder pads, and then we'll head out together for team stretch, which is basically like the same thing we do in practice, and then we'll do like a quick individual drills. One quick team period just so that the offense and defense like pads are ready. We hit each other a couple times so we're all good to go. Then we'll break it down. We do team prayer in the locker room, and then this year, new coaching staff, we've been rolling out with like bagpipes and the American flag and the Holy Cross flag.
okay.
So that's our new walkout for this year. So we've been doing that, and then really right after that, it's game time. So, that's kind of what it looks like for us. And honestly, like those game days are kind of priceless, man. You feel all the adrenaline in the world. That moment, I like to tell people the moment before kickoff, like that 15-minute window after the run out, where you're on the field and the captains are walking and doing the coin toss. I love those 15 minutes, man. I love that so much. You feel such a rush. It's incredible stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. I bet those moments are unreal. I mean, just the fans, the energy. Um, I mean, you can't. It's almost like once you really can't relive it. Once you do it, and I'm sure it'll be moments that you're gonna cherish forever. Once you
100%.
graduate. Um, that sounds like a good fun game day. I like those little traditions that you make up for, and you're doing it with your buddy, walking out, doing some pregame warm up stuff in your own world. I mean, even if the stadium's empty and you're 3 hours, before kickoff,
Yeah.
putting the headphones in, jamming out to your tunes, and just listening to whatever. I mean, it sounds like a really good time. Well, I'm curious now, what is your favorite college football memory so far? I mean, maybe this could change. You still got a decent portion of your senior year left, but so far, Holy Cross football. What's your favorite moment? Whether it's on the field, off the field, could be at a party. Shit, I don't really know.
Yeah, yeah. It's I got two. I got two.
Okay.
The first one, sophomore year at Buffalo.
Okay.
We threw up a last minute Hail Mary like 50 yards, and our wide receiver who is on the Panthers right now, Jalen Coker, shout out to him. Moss like three dudes touchdown to win the game,
Oh,
0 seconds on the clock.
that's insane.
It was we were rushing the field, and what made it even better is that they had fireworks planned, and they shot
Oh
the
yeah.
fireworks off for us. So the fireworks are going off, and we're storming the field, and it was unreal moment, just an unreal moment for us. That was our second game of the season that year, and it was our first ever back to back FBS win. We beat UConn my freshman year, beat Buffalo that year,
Okay.
and it was absolutely insane. And then my second one actually came in a loss, but at BC last season, there was a huge rain delay,
Okay.
and so and that rain delay came like in the middle of the fourth quarter, and we went into the locker room. We knew we had the ball. We were down like three, and so we knew we had a chance to win the game. And we had scored a good amount of points. Like our offense was moving the ball, so we were really confident that we can go out there and and take the game over. And halfway through the rain delay, our running back runs into the locker room. He's like, "Yo, like the stadium's empty, but all of our fans are like still here. They're going wild." So we're running out and we're peeking out onto the field, and the whole end zone is just filled with purple. No one else is in the stadium. Our whole student section is just going nuts for like 45 minutes in the middle of the rain. Nothing's happening. And so when we run out, we're all sprinting down to the end zone and just like hyping them up.
Yeah.
And they were the only people there. It was honestly one of the most proud moments I've had. Being a Holy Cross football player, because we're a small school.
Yeah.
We're a small school, like 3,000, 4,000 people. Like our games do get packed and they get rowdy, but being in someone else's stadium and really just taking it over. Even though we lost that game, it was an insane moment. It felt surreal. So
Oh yeah. Well,
those are my two for sure.
those are good moments. Well, that win at Buffalo is that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it
That's
was nice.
impressive. They're a decent program. I mean, they just beat NIU this past weekend, who I think NIU's a little overrated, despite the win. I mean, a great win at Notre Dame.
Great win for them. I
Not
mean,
trying to. I don't want to take that away from them by any means. I just I'm not sure if they're a truly top 25 team, but that's a separate thing.
yeah,
And you said, okay, so the loss against Boston College. So this was your junior. So this is last season. That Thomas Castellanos, their quarterback, he's something, isn't he?
yeah. Chased him around a lot. Only got one hit on him. He's a fast guy.
Yeah.
We kind of saw that one coming. We knew the more we could keep him in the pocket, the more we just made him throw the ball every possession we could. The easier it would be on our defense. But man, he is unreal. That guy's fast. Chasing him around the field is tiring as hell.
Oh, I bet.
Shout out to any defensive lineman who's had to do that as well. It's terrible.
Oh,
So
I bet.
you know,
Yeah.
he's great though. He's a great player.
Yeah, he's really good. I think he was like one of the more underrated quarterbacks in college football. And
Yeah,
I mean, so far Boston College they've had a good season.
they have.
Went at Florida State. They were really close with Missouri, who's a top 10 team in the nation. Oh God, I'm not a big Boston College guy. I know they played Michigan State yesterday. Did they?
Yeah, they beat Michigan State
Oh, they
last
did.
night. They had the red bandana game.
Okay.
So they had those jerseys with like the bandana numbers, and they
Yep.
had the flag for Wells, for the 9/11 guy who died, the BC guy. So
Yeah.
love honestly one of the better uniform combos in college football for sure.
Yeah.
Just absolutely nuts.
Yeah. No, I love those ones. Yeah. they're off to a good start this year. They're going to be, I think, one of the dark horses to win the ACC for sure.
I agree.
Well, those are some good memories. Now I'm curious, uh, which this may or may not be something maybe you want to remember, but I'm curious, like, what is your welcome to college football moment? Like, just an experience you had where you're like, okay, this isn't high school. Like,
Yeah.
this is Division I college football. It could be in a practice. It could be a moment you had during a game. Um, I've heard the stories where like people have like these crazy stories. It doesn't necessarily have to be crazy, but I'm just
Yeah.
curious. The moment you kind of realize like, wow, like I'm here.
I wouldn't say mine's crazy, but it did hurt. So my freshman year camp, when you're rushing the passer as a D lineman, the O line usually they don't just set straight back. They'll usually slide to one side or another.
Hmm.
And one of the rules when you're rushing the passer as a D lineman, if the O line is sliding to your side, what you never want to do is do a spin move into the slide because there are O linemen who are shuffling your way. They're setting your way. So me, young freshman Damon Donalds, at 3 Tech decided that maybe I should spin into our all conference center, and he leveled me first practice in paths. I was literally off my feet on the ground, and I I was like, yeah, this hasn't happened before to me. So that was definitely the moment, and it honestly I don't want to relive it ever again. Learned quickly, after
Yeah.
that one.
Well, yeah, you learn from your mistakes, your experience for sure. Yeah, that does not sound fun. I couldn't like I like for someone who hasn't played football, um sometimes like as a bigger guy, like I sometimes think like I'm kind of strong, and like I just couldn't imagine going up against like those big offensive linemen, or even like if I was an offensive lineman and trying to guard you, like trying to shift you one way, like I just don't think that would go very well. And see, it's a little depleting for me, right? Because I'm about to turn 24, and I'm like, oh, like I'm in my mid 20s, like I'm a big strong guy, but then. And you're young. Are you what? You 21, 22?
21. Yep.
21. So yeah, so for me, I'm like, oh, like I got you on age. But then, and I could imagine, yeah, even for you, as in this situation, as a freshman, you're going up against the all-conference center, who is, he's a badass, I bet, or was. I don't know if he's still there, but
Yep.
and just leveling you out. Probably, yeah, probably a little depleting. Maybe
Yeah.
ruins the
It
confidence a little bit.
definitely was. And I guess everyone does have that moment. Sometimes though, it comes like you know when you're not playing. Like
Yeah.
I was thinking about saying this as well, like talking about like welcome to college football moment. We beat UConn week 1 to open the season that year, my freshman year.
Yeah.
Week 2, we had Merrimack College coming into Worcester, Mass, at home. They just turned Division 1, like that season. I think that was their first season being Division 1 team,
Yeah.
and we were very confident. Like I was a freshman, and they were like, "You could play today." It was like, "Be ready. You might go in. You just need to know the playbook, know your plays, and
Yeah.
just be ready to go." We got smacked by like 30. we,
Oh wow.
we got smacked. Week 2, smacked by Merrimack College. And that was kind of just like, wow, like you're coming off an FBS win, and this team just turned Division 1. You're not expecting it. They come into your house and they kick their feet up. They tell you to make them a sandwich. They drink your soda pop, and you're just in the dumps. And
Yeah.
as a freshman, you have your hopes of like, yeah, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna play freshman year. Like, let's go. And middle of the third quarter, you're down 20, and it's just, everyone's shaking their head. Home opener, and yeah, that's also. I feel like that's welcome to college football because anything can happen. You
Oh yeah.
could lose any game on your schedule, no question, if you're not prepared and if you're not ready to go. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I think that's. I mean, that's just kind of like college sports. I feel like in general. Like I don't know if you follow much college basketball, but
oh yeah,
March Madness. There's tons of uh, big teams getting upset by these little teams, and I think on the football field maybe it's not as common. Like I admit, like could an FCS program bring down Georgia? I mean, I guess maybe if like a Georgia, if they really were lacking,
I don't
maybe.
know.
But I'm just like I think it's tough to see. But yes, I think if you're not one of the top dogs in the nation, I totally agree that if you're not playing your game, if you're not in the right mindset, if you're lacking, if you're not trying, and if the team, if the opponent team, even if they're the underdogs, and as long as they have confidence, they can do a lot with that. And I think that's interesting too because, um, I went to St. Thomas in Minnesota where your boy Landon plays, and
Yep.
they've made the transition from Division 3 to Division 1, and um, in all of their sports. And I think it's interesting. I think there's a school. I want to say this is more like college hockey, but I know there's like a school that just turned Division 1 recently, and they smacked like two really big schools, even though a lot of those guys were probably still D3 guys, and that's maybe kind of how Merrimack was. I
Yeah.
would imagine if they were Division 2, um, I would imagine that a lot of those athletes in that game were still a lot of those Division 2 guys. Just because there's only so many Division 1 guys you're going to get from the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Recruits out of high school, and even then, they don't have experience like those former players on that team. They might not
Yeah.
know as much. And yeah, every week's different. I mean, you'll have some games where you might beat the shit out of someone, and then that okay, like that's an impressive win at UConn, just like your experience. And then it's like okay, you got home field against Merrimack, you're confident, um, maybe a little cocky. It is what it is. And then
Definitely a little cocky.
yeah, I remember my high school football team. I remember like a game where they were like the clear favorites against the team, and then they got their ass whooped. And I remember like asking my buddies who played, I was like, "What the hell happened?" And they were like, "I think we got cocky," and then they ended up kind of being better than we expected, and then we just
Yeah.
couldn't get in our flow of things, and then before we knew it, we were down like 30 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Well, that's I'm curious. One more question for you, my man.
Yep.
Um, do you play college football 25 much at all? Like, do you have time?
No, I've never been crazy into video games. A couple of my roommates are very deep into it. But no, I've never been a crazy video game guy. I mean, I don't know. It's just a regular. I think it's because growing up, my parents were a little strict on media, screen time,
Oh
that
yeah.
type of thing. And so late middle school when most of my friends got their first Xbox 360 and rolling, um, and they were rolling, and everyone's on the mic playing like the OG Call of Duty. I was not one of those guys, unfortunately. But it's whatever. I still play. If we all get a group in the room and we want to play, I'll still play Madden or play 2K, or I'll play college football. But I'm not very into it. I don't have a my career or anything like that. So
Wasn't sure. I was just curious if they got to put you in the game. I was curious your honest answer. What would your overall be?
oh wow, wow. So if anyone wants to check PFF, not sure about how I am now after the last game, and this may be a little bit of AI or PFF bias, but they have me ranked pretty high
Okay.
on the D tackle list after week 3. But in all honesty, I'd probably be around a 79, 80.
Okay.
Big run stopper, big strength, little slow. Not great in the agility category, but you know, definitely a playable player. That's for sure.
Okay. Well, good to know. Yeah, I would definitely use your character if I if Holy Cross ever had a team, and or if I could, I wish I could just, I don't know, maybe I'll have to create you someday and create you as a 79. Good to know. That's
Okay, let's make it a clean 80.
clean 80.
Make
Okay,
it a clean 80.
we'll round up. Okay, I got you, buddy. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, 80 overall for Damon Donalds. Okay, we love it. Well, that's all we have time for, man. Thank you for coming on. Good luck to you for the rest of your senior season, and then good luck to Holy Cross come conference play. And yeah, go Crusaders.
Thank you, Julian. Appreciate it, man.
Yep.